So welcome everyone. My name is Sergio Moreno from the University of Las Palmas de Gran Canaria, Canary Islands, Spain. But currently I am a visiting professor at the University of Calgary. So welcome to this class. And today we're going to be talking about how to apply neuromarketing techniques to better understand the customer and eventually to render a customer-centric experience. So basically, we will divide this presentation in two. The first part about the rendering experience part, and the second will be focused on the neuromarketing techniques. So basically, as you all know, the first idea is that the customer doesn't really care about you or your business. They care about themselves. They care about the people they love. So as a company, we have that challenge that we have to think about them and not us to be able to provide that experience, because the experience happens inside the customer. So we cannot actually provide an experience. We can provide the atmosphere and all the right cues. So it's very likely that the experience happens inside the customer. So because we have to think about them, so here's an idea, basic idea about thinking outside the box. So here's the challenge. As you know, you have to, maybe you've done this exercise before. It's a very simple one. You have to link all the dots here in this box, the 9 dots, only using 4 straight lines. So you cannot leave your pen. So basically it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, but I skip the central dot, or you can do, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, but I skip this one. So it's very likely that you skip one. You can pause the video here if you want and try and keep going, but we don't have time for that. So I'll give you like a potential answer to this exercise. And it could be like that, like 1 line, 2 here, 3, and 4. And here you see the answer, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 lines. So basically it's thinking outside the box. So to really consider the customer and all their needs, and to be customer centric, we have to think outside the box. We have to think outside our own business. So that's the first basic idea to start with. So what this is an example about a company. It's in Sydney, Australia. What they offer is a very simple product or experience to climb the bridge. But not every single bridge is the Harbor Bridge, that iconic bridge in Sydney. So basically you just go up, you have to wear the harness and that, you know, all that big performance. So you go up there and the people pay for that, and actually they pay quite a lot. So the reason why they pay, and here you can see that they offer the customer different certificates, and they are not cheap at all, is that, what do you think they are looking for? Is it the view? Is it the risk? Because actually, if you pay the titanium certificate, or you know, the most expensive one, you get a book with all the pictures, because remember, you cannot wear your own cell phone and for security reasons. So you pay that money because you want to show other people that you've been there, that you've been up there, and it's not any bridge, it's an iconic bridge, is the bridge. So those guys, they did understand the customer, and that they wanted that kind of souvenir to take home and to conquer that bridge. And that's why they came out with this new product, this new experience. So it's about the customer, it's about thinking about them. So it's not that much about the price. In that trade-off, value for money, it's not about the price. It is important, of course, but it's not the only consideration to take into account. And it is very important that we think about the customer experience and all the benefits, the sacrifices, but the experience that we provide. That's why many research and investigations, they show that basically there is a gap between what the customer buy and what the customer want and what they really get at the end. Here you can see with real data the gap between what they when they buy and when they really enjoy what they bought, the travel they did. So this is just an example. Going to a traditional example, we have the Pine and Gilmore classic example with the transformation of commodities and resources into experiences. So with the coffee example, it's very simple to see the difference between a commodity that would be coffee grain, that in the international market can be about $1 something a kilogram. So it's very, it's not an expensive commodity. It's quite a basic resource. And then if we transform that into a product, things change. Because maybe you pay for a kilogram more than $10. So basically, you multiply by 10 the price of the resource or commodity, transforming or evolving it into a product. If we keep going, and now you think, well, you pay for a coffee, maybe you use 7 grams of coffee to provide that service, you see that there is a huge increase in the price. If you multiply all the coffees you get out of those 7 grams cups, you will see that, again, it's an exponential growth. And finally, if you go to the #1 coffee shop in the world, more than 10,000 coffee shops around the world, Starbucks, it's, you pay about $5 per coffee, and you see again how much you can increase the price. So this is a good example about coffee, and we keep on working on it. And if you go to this other company, Nespresso, right? You pay for those coffees. I don't know if you think that could be cheap or expensive. Some people say that it's more expensive than buying, just grain coffee and then you do it yourself at home or in your office. I would say it can be cheap because, it's that guy's George Clooney. So basically, I cannot buy maybe a Ferrari. I cannot buy a gold Rolex watch for myself, but I can buy this. I can afford to buy this. And it's not about buying coffee. It's about buying a different experience. It's about buying something else. It's design, it's prestigious, and so on. So again, we jump to another country, let's say Colombia, and they have this brand. It's Juan Valdez. So they made up this brand, and this guy that is not really authentic. He's not a farmer. He was not even Colombian. But they came out with all the values and authenticity that they communicate through this personality, Juan Valdez. So it's about communicating with the customer, thinking about what they really want to buy and what they really want to experience. So the same happens like in Canada. the number one coffee shop will be Tim Hortons. It's quite related to hockey. That is, as you know, it's the national sport. And again, it's a cultural bond that make the customer so to be so attached to this coffee shop and this coffee brand. And if we go to Gran Canaria, where I was born, the Canary Islands, there is a farm. They sell the coffee, and each kilo is about $70. So you might think that's expensive, but the point is that you visit the plantation, and because you visit the plantation, you touch the plant, you see the process and so on, eventually you buy a package of coffee, and all the tourists, most of the tourists, they visit the plantation, they buy a package. It's not a kilo, it's 250 grams or approximately, but they pay a lot of money per that coffee, because it's not coffee anymore, it's about the experience. And here's another example. You can see, and you know the concept probably of the long tail. So in internet, when you are trying to promote your product, you can pay. So you will be, let's say in Google, at the very top of that customer search. And if you go for the generic word coffee, that would be very expensive, because a lot of people are betting for that word. And so it's going to be complicated. However, if you narrow your search and you are competing for, let's say, medium roast coffee, beans vacuum pack, then it will be much cheaper. So this example that is related to internet and how we do our marketing, search engine marketing, it is related to how important is to focus on the customer and specifically on their needs. If we succeed in doing that, then obviously we will have many options to render a memorable experience. And again, a different example related to coffee. If we go to a coffee shop, maybe we can see a display similar to this one, different types of coffees, different prices, small, medium, large. And what is something not so common, kind of unusual here, is the first column, where we can read calories. If we pay attention of that information, it's very likely that we are going to make a decision on the Americano, that you see it's only 2 calories, or down here, right? So we change the paradigm, we change the focus of the customer, and it's not about the price anymore, but about calories. They care about this information. That's why we have to think about what they really matter and to be customer-centric oriented. If we keep going with this example, it's about calories. So maybe they don't go for the small, but for the large, because it's only 2 calories, you know, so it's not really a big deal if you go for a large coffee. So that's upgrading. So that will be more profitable for the company. But at the same time, maybe when you go at the counter to pay, they will offer you like a cookie that is only $1 extra or something like that. And in that case, you don't get information about how many calories that cookie or whatever it is, that treat is providing. So this is cross-selling, and it's very likely that you are willing to buy something additionally, because first you made a decision that it was very well behaved in terms of calories. So you consider that maybe you can treat you, indulge you, right? So again, this is an example, and this is the methodology. You can, if you know Pan and Gilmore methodology, probably you've been studying that. And there's a lot of issues and tips that you have to consider in order to render that memorable experience. It has to be educational, entertainment, aesthetic, escapist, and so on and so forth. but we don't have time now for this in this presentation for going further on this topic. So I'll provide you an example. This is a real example, one of the multiple experiences we've been developing and working on. And this is related to stargazing. You know, stargazing is free. You just lift up your chink and you look at the stars, and it's free. So we were trying to provide that experience. So here you can see the customer journey from the very beginning, information and booking, all the way until they basically they go back to their hotel, they go back to their home, and you keep a relationship with them afterwards. So here's an example about that customer journey and experience, and the issues that you have to be able to identify the main interactions that customer is having with you, with your company. You have to identify what are the, the tangibles and all the elements that are taking part in that experience. The service scape, the icons, those so-called moments of the truth, and so on and so forth. So for instance, if we go to the first part, here is information and booking. It can be through the website or the app, or different possibilities. And if we go to the final part of the customer journey, is to keep in touch with the customer, and those are the different interactions that we identify working with the company. So then it was about applying a checklist. That checklist is helping to identify how can you improve each interaction. It can be about learning, it can be about entertainment, it can be about doing something, and so on and so forth. And eventually, it was about coming out with different improvements, suggestions, or ideas to make that experience more memorable. So if you apply at least this checklist, is 10 different cues that you have to think about, to those 3 interactions, it makes up to 30 potential improvements that you can do in your business, thinking about your customer. For instance, some of the ideas regarding to that interaction were related to how can we do, through the website when they book, that experience that they can learn something. So instead of providing them a regular booking code, just a regular number, we provide them with a code related to 1 star. And that star was part of a constellation. So they were learning about a particular star and a particular constellation. Then it's related to entertainment, because when they meet the group, they have to identify the same stars that are part of their constellation. So at the very end, it facilitates the interaction within the group, so people get to know each other because they are searching for, their partners in that constellation. And it was about doing things. Yeah, they were active and involved in developing that part. And that was from the very beginning at the information and booking. Instead of doing a boring information, you provide all your data, you fill it out, those templates and so on, you add value because you're thinking about the customer. So you make it more memorable. And and it's about the interaction with the customer and how to communicate properly with them. And here we jump to the second part of this presentation. So first I will start like an easy question, like how many times a day do you feel tired? So maybe, I don't know, in my case, maybe in the morning a little bit, and wake up and then after lunch and maybe at night, three times a day, I would say. Okay, you made your own answer. But now we'll change the question here. How many times a week do you feel tired? Well, if you're a rational person, and I bet you are, you can multiply three times a day, let's say by 5 at least weekdays that you're working. That makes, wow, out of scale, right? You might be way out of this scale. Yep, basically you might feel you need to rest. So here we come with a different question. From 1 to 10, rate your interest in having a relaxing holiday. So according to your previous answer, you are very tired along the week. So it's very likely that your answer here is also in a high score. So this communication was affecting the way you were making a decision, the way you were answering to these questions. So that's why we have to use different techniques like neuromarketing techniques. Again, here is our last example before explaining a little bit those techniques. If you have the possibility to choose between those three options, it could be a day trip to London, day and night. Basically, you go out and they show you all around the city during the day and also during the night, and you pay $100. You can go to London by night, that's cheaper, $90, or you can go to Paris, $100. So between those two, it seems quite clear that this is a better deal. London by day and night. It's only $10 more, and you have both possibilities. So if you have time and if you feel like doing that, it's very likely that you go for your London by day and night. And because you first made this decision about London by day and night, now it's more likely that you decide to go to London versus Paris, because you have already made your first decision, and that's a conditioning in your brain that's it's influencing your next decision. On the other way around, if we show the information between Paris by day and night, Paris by night, and London by day and night, it's very likely that you prefer to go to Paris by day and night, because that was your first decision. Paris by day and night in comparison to Paris by night. So here's the way we consider as customers to make our decisions. So that's why as a company, we really have to think about the customer, and it's about them. So we have to understand how they made decisions, and we have to apply new techniques to really be customer centric. So for instance, that's what we do. Our goal is rendering memorable experiences. That's why we analyze with those neuromarketing techniques the customer, and we are able to identify those hidden aspects, preferences, and considerations that traditional techniques cannot show or reveal. So the world is changing, and we have to integrate technology with the people, the customer, and their emotions, and also with the global challenge that we all are facing, that is sustainability, social, economic, and environmental sustainability. So yeah, the economy is telling us that we have to face sustainability as a company or as a stakeholder to really succeed. And we have to integrate it with the digital transition and the customer emotions. In order to do that, our traditional methodologies, such as surveys, asking the customer questions about their satisfaction, preferences, and so on, we have to complement those techniques with new ones. Why? Well, traditional methodologies, they face some limitations. For instance, memory. Sometimes we do not remember things. If I am watching a commercial and you ask me tomorrow about that commercial, maybe I don't remember much. Or even after 3 seconds, my life memory is going to be gone. So basically, I will just retain a few bits of information about that stimuli. Then it's about sincerity. It's not that people lie because they want to lie, but you want to be polite and correct. So sometimes you don't say everything you want to say because you are, a correct and polite person. So you don't say that explicitly. Then sometimes we just answer and it's not a well meditated or non-thoughtful response. So we just answer whatever comes to our mind. We don't think twice about that. Sometimes we don't understand properly the question they're asking us. But yeah, there are some limitations about the traditional techniques that we are trying to uh, complement with new techniques to help us to really understand the customer. For instance, we apply eye tracking, both wearable and desktop eye tracking. To identify the emotions, we use EEG, electroencephalogram, but also face coding, identifying what are the face expressions to see what are the emotions we evoke on our customers. We use also the virtual reality and augmented reality to understand the consumer behavior in the metaverse and in different scenarios. And we monitor the customer using all kinds of information from the search engine when they are surfing the website, but also when they move around their geolocation. And eventually, we include all that information in the dashboard to really understand the customer. So, for instance, I'll give you a few examples related to eye tracking. This is a traditional example. This brand was trying to promote their diapers. And here in this first test, they realized that the people were actually paying attention to the baby's face. You see that red dot? That means that the attention, interest, engagement was more focused on that baby face and not in the product. Then they changed and they came out with a new solution, and it was just portraying the baby facing the product and the content. In this way, most of the customers were paying more attention to the message and product. As you can see in this heat map, the second option was a better one. So eye tracking helps us to identify where is the customer attention. And that's the key point to start that relationship. To understand their interest, what they really want and what they really care about that message. And eventually many other critical KPIs that help us to better understand the customer and make solutions based on that. Here's another example. This is a commercial. Here you can see how much attention they pay to the brand, the text, the picture, and so on. This is just a heat map, but there are a bunch of data behind this analysis. Here's just a leaflet or a brochure. And again, you can analyze also the order in which they read and they analyze this content, from one to second, the second, third dot, you move around and you can follow that pattern. And also, depending on the size of the circle, how important was the attention paid to that specific content. So basically, you can check if your content is succeeding in terms of attention and in terms of interest or not. And you can change it to make it more accurate according to your designing strategy. You can also do that with wearable glasses. So we analyze the real experience of the customer, either when using the screen, it can be a cell phone, tablet, or a real experience in a museum, or it can be in the shop when they go and they face the supermarket and they have to decide what product to buy and so on and so forth. It can be also analyzed, and we do that as well in the virtual reality and the metaverse. So we can see when they have that virtual experience, what is really catching their attention, and all those KPIs are analyzed. And also in the real experience or virtual reality. This is an example. They are just going for a stroll through this promenade by the beach. So you can see if they pay attention to, the message on the screen or the table, whatever they are looking at, you will be able to analyze it. So, you have to understand that it's about people's emotions, and that's really critical to understand people's emotions. So, for instance, what we do is analyzing the face with face coding. So we analyze the face expressions. We have more than 30 muscles in our face. And depending on those muscles, we can analyze if you are evoking any arousal, the intensity, and also what kind of basic emotion you are evoking with your message, with your product, with your experience. It can be that happiness, it can be that they are sad, or they are surprised. You can identify the specific emotion depending on the face expression. So we analyze that. It's very simple with a webcam. You just record the face of the customer, and you can identify to what extent you are evoking an emotional response and what kind of response you are getting with your message, with your communication, with your product, with your video, with your picture, with your content. In addition to the face coding analysis that I was previously explaining, you can use also different techniques. We are using EEG, electroencephalogram. So according to the stimulation of the different neurons and parts of the brain, again, you can identify to what extent your communication is evoking any response according to your planning ideas. We also analyze those responses for a particular product, for food, the food experience. So we create an atmosphere integrating 5 senses, all of them. So the people, they have that gastronomy experience, and you test the impact of those smells. We also have a machine for providing those different smells. You have the face coding. You have also the visual, the hearing, all senses, and eventually you can identify what the results are out of that gastronomy sensorial experience, and you can improve your product. It can be your packaging, it can be the way you present it, it can be the testing, it can be the smell, whatever it's not working properly. So all in all, what we have is new techniques, neuromarketing techniques that we apply to complement the traditional KPIs, financial information, of course, internet information, engagement and so on, all those Google Analytics that we get, let's say, and we integrate data that are related to the customer, to what they really feel, what happens inside the customer, and that can reveal information that is vital to design our products, to improve our products, to improve our communication and the way we interact with the customers. And that makes our organization customer centric, and it really increased the possibilities to succeed in the market. So this is all for today. I hope that some of these ideas are useful for you, for your company, for your future career. Happy to help and be in touch. And I hope that you really enjoy this customer-centric program. And I wish you all the best in the future. So probably I'll see you one day.